Welcome back to Catching Up with Katie. And no, we don't have a foal yet. As of this being filmed, we don't. It is almost February, and we don't have a foal yet. Last year at this time, we had 3 foals, and by the end of January, we had 4. Here's the kicker. That's still possible.
Very true. I
Like
feel
today,
one's going to drop and the rest are just going to follow.
Today's the 29th.
Folo.
We have
Folo.
48 hours
We have 2 days,
and some change.
and we could beat last year. We have 5 mares in the foaling window, and one of them is 9 days overdue. It could still be possible.
You think they're all going to go tonight?
I don't know. I haven't even looked at any of their udders today yet because we've been just doing so many other things, and so I'm about to go after this and check on them. But Raven, she might just be one of those that goes a long time, because here's the thing. Healthily, a mare can go a year.
Mm-hmm.
That's not uncommon. I think it's not necessarily the average. The average is what we consider their due date, which is around 340. But that means there's got to be a lot of mares that go over, right? I just have not had that experience. And I think there are actually a couple of studies about the light theory that I've been having, and I don't think we can necessarily use my own mares at this point to say if it's working or not, because Raven, I've never foaled her out before.
Mm-hmm.
This could just be her normal. Indy always goes to her due date in my experience, and she's getting there. And then it's really the last couple of mares that are due, so it'll be April when they've all had their babies in the 320s.
Mm-hmm.
And I made sure that we were intentional in not having their lights on past 4 or 5 o'clock this year. So we'll see if they go a little longer. But yeah, we're at this point, everyone in the comments is like, turn her light on.
Someone last
give
night,
us the freaking baby.
Someone last night was like, charm that baby out.
Well, because
Luminara.
okay, so we've been live streaming the foaling, not foaling, Foal Watch. And so on the nights where we're not hanging out and we're just dead to the world, we turn it onto just the foal camera. And so we've been just swapping points of views of watching Raven. And that's fun. A lot of people have been watching it. We've been leaving it on for 10 to 12 hours.
Yeah.
And so it's all night. And last night we played Dungeons and Dragons, which is a new hyperfixation.
We're
of ours.
locked.
And so last night we started a new campaign. And so our fellow nerds who were watching with us had some funny jokes.
Yes.
I did see someone be like, I can't remember the exact spell, but there was a spell someone kept saying. They were like, Medius Folus or something like that.
I saw that one too. Okay. The Habitus Folus.
Yeah, something like that. Habitus
Habitus
Folus.
folus.
So we're ready. We're ready.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I keep being like, it's cold.
Yeah.
Can we wait till it's 40
Wait till
something?
it's warm.
Because with the new insulation in the barn, it's truly 20 to 25 degrees warmer in the barn at night than it is outside. So next week it's going to be, 30s at night instead of 0.
Mm-hmm.
And so it'll be not even jacket weather inside. It'll be in the
It'll be
50s.
fine.
Yeah. But yeah, we're all tired. I haven't slept in my own bed. I've been in the shop for 2 weeks. Lindsay lives here now. You're a trooper, an absolute trooper. And
There's
Buck
no complaints.
didn't even know us a couple weeks ago.
He got thrown in for sure.
I've been acquainted now.
I've been trying to keep you fed.
Oh, it's great here. I love it.
He sleeps on a bed with a
Yeah.
pillow and a blanket.
He's gotten minimum 4 showers per day.
Yep. Got to get my showers in.
We find everyone's little things, quirks, and he likes a good shower.
I do.
But yeah, we're trucking along. Lindsay does have some questions that we got from Facebook, and we're just trying to keep all of the new people that are finding my channel through foaling season and through Foal Watch informed, because there is so many different things going on all at once, pretty much all the time on the farm. We're still waiting on calves. It's calving season right now. We have 3 heifers that are due right now. So it's calving season. It's foaling season. we're about to start breeding season. Here soon, we're doing horse shows. Like, it's just, there's always something going on. So you got something to start us off with?
Yes. This one is just a fun one, just to start us off, just to break the ice.
Okay.
Have you ever had...
Break the ice, because there's a lot of ice
Because
outside.
it's icy outside.
Hey yo.
Got him! So, have you ever had a snake encounter? Like, someone, like, a snake has bitten you?
I hate snakes.
Okay.
I hate
So,
them.
no.
Like, even a little garter snake, I can't do snakes. No, I did have a snake hold on. There was one at the barn. It wasn't me though. Like, the girls had me freaked out to go into the tack room because there was one that had made a little home.
Oh.
And then it was just sticking its head out.
Mm-mm.
But I haven't really had any snake encounters myself. Are y'all snake people?
I love snakes.
No.
No.
You look like a snake guy.
I'm a snake. I'm an anything guy. They don't bother me.
I could see you with
You
Spiders.
look like a reptile guy.
Yeah.
like a pet snake.
I've had some pet snakes, yeah. But they were just like ones I found in the yard, not like real
well,
ones.
still.
See, that checks out. You're an old soul, old country boy.
I've had pets. Yeah, I've had raccoons. I've had bobcat pets. Just whatever shows up at the old house in Mississippi. They would just stick around, and then at that point, you just feel bad for them. So you're like, here's some food, I guess, and then now they're your pet.
So my dad is like that. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. You get kind of an old soul. And I remember one of his favorite stories is that in college.
Hey y'all, it's Katie. Did you know that you could bring a little piece of running springs into your home? And just so you know, if you're a paid subscriber on TikTok, Facebook, or Instagram, you will always get a 25% off discount with your subscriber code on the merch store. We've got the cutest merch featuring all the farm favorites, like our mini cows, mares and foals, goats, donkeys, and of course the mini horses. You'll find t-shirts, cozy hoodies, zip-ups, mugs, and so much more. Some of the designs are limited edition, so when they're gone, they're gone. But don't worry, a few favorites stick around at least until the end of the year. We've also started adding fun new things like diamond art kits, paint by number sets, shoe charms, and even coloring books. And trust me, there's a lot more coming later this year. So check back often, and don't forget to join the email list so you don't miss out on the new drops. So head over to katievanslyke.net to get all of your favorites before they're gone. And now back to the video.
He had a rat snake as a pet. So he had, like, I guess in the old dorm rooms, I can't remember, he went to Martin Methodist, I think, or something like that. And I don't know if the dorms were super old or what. They were just like super, like, he had rats in his room. I don't know what that says about his cleanliness or whatever. But he was like, yeah, I kept me a rat snake for the rats in my room. And I was like, okay. And he would let it out during the day, and then he'd put it up at night. Like, he would just let it be out in his room during the day. And he said the last day I had it, it got cold, and he felt it slithering up his leg one night. It got in bed with him for heat, and it slithered up his leg one night, and I was like, huh? I can't even imagine. And so he's like, yeah, after that, I went and set it free. It never bit me once until I released it, and then it bit me as it left.
Oh, I didn't like that.
Oh my goodness.
And when they bite you, they leave little teeth in you.
Yeah.
You've seen me with a little anxiety. You've never seen me in a panic.
Snakes.
I would have been in a panic if a snake was up my leg.
Rat snakes get
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
long.
big. Yeah, they're big.
It wouldn't even have to be a snake. You could just, I could
supposed
just
to be a
think.
That was a graphic.
Yeah.
Right.
I could just think it was something similar. I don't take chances. It would have been wild. That's all I can say. I would have gone crazy. I would have been throwing everything, kicking, screaming, flopping covers.
Mm-hmm.
I would have embarrassed myself.
I don't do snakes.
Your wife would have been like, ick.
Big time.
Oh my God. So Jonathan, my husband, is the opposite, where he freaks me out with how comfortable he is with snakes. And so he doesn't care. And I've seen him be in predicaments where I'm like, you should care a little bit more. Like, why are we putting ourselves in vicinities with rattlesnakes and stuff? Like, why are we like?
No.
I got a lovely video I got to show you.
You and Jonathan should talk snakes.
Okay, so is there a limit to how many I wrote how many mares a foal can have? How many foals a mare can have?
I would love to know what the like record is, like how many has a mare had. I would say generally, in my experience, a career broodmare. So one that's like her job, her whole adult life. 10 to 15 is super normal for those types of mares that start early. Now, the later they start, kind of the less they can have safely. Like, it's like if they start earlier and they're kept healthy throughout the pregnancies, it's like their body adapts to it and is used to it, and they can hold that pregnancy a lot easier if they're just kind of staying in broodmare shape. But let's see. Like Beyonce had 6 before we retired her for other reasons from caring for herself. I'm trying to think of any of my mares. We don't know how many Indy's had. I bet Indy's had quite a few. She's only had 2 with me since 2021. This will be her 3rd one. And I know she had at least one to 3 before me. But yeah, I would say the norm for a career broodmare is, I would say maybe 8 to 15. That's a pretty big range. But I mean, there's some people that have said, like, I've seen them in my comments being like, oh my gosh, back in the day, we had a mare that carried babies into her late 20s. And so if she had a baby even every other year from the time she was, 3, 4, 5, like, that's over 10.
Yeah.
Or if she had one every year for a while, that could be in the teens, So
it just depends.
It just depends on the mare. It depends on the mare. It depends on her, genetics. It depends on when she starts. A
lot of factors.
Yeah, and I would say, like, the oldest mare I've ever bred was 20. She was super, in super good health when we bred her. She, unfortunately, it was like one of the most fluke things. It was cool. We've talked about her. But, every single day, fellow breeders that I've, looked up to, or, thoroughbred farms, you'll see like these mares that are having these like $1 million babies at 22 years old, 24 years old. And I would definitely say it's, harder to get them in foal maybe as they get a little bit older. But some mares, genetically, they are just, absolutely good at it. And it's not as hard on their body. And then there's mares like Gracie, who was a recent mare of ours. She's had 3 babies. And I'm like, I think she's done. Like I
you can just tell.
Yeah. So I don't think there's necessarily a hard stop. And I think it's just like women, it's like humans. Everybody's different. Some women, one pregnancy is hell on their body, and they just, there's a...
Just see her moving. Tim. Hello.
Timothy. So, some women, it's like one baby was super hard on them, and it's not healthy for them to have more. Other women can pop out 10. It just is what it is.
Good on you for like recognizing that in Gracie and like other mares, that you don't continue to like push them when they're
and some mares
done.
They have 0 issues having babies like year to year, because they're built to be where they have an 11-month pregnancy, so that they have their babies in the spring. They can be bred pretty quickly after they foal, but their body, they don't even recognize they're pregnant until later on. So it's such a long gestation that you can breed them, and then they're recovered by the time they have another one.
Yeah.
And they basically have this 6-month break of just chilling. Like, they have their foal, even if you rebreed them like a month or 2 months later, they have their foal on their side for about 6 months. And then they have another 6 to 8 months where they're just chilling, hanging
pregnant.
Out. And so, sometimes my mares have 0 issues having multiple babies in a row. Other times they just don't really hold, weight well or whatever. And then they need a year off in between. Like, it's all very mare dependent. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you for that. I did not know that. Okay. How nervous were you? Sorry, I need to stop saying how nervous were you to foal out the first time? And who did you foal out the first time?
So I've been watching foals be born since I was like literally a toddler. There are photos of me in my footy pajamas down at the barn with Bo when he was born.
Yeah.
Bo is 26 years old.
That would put you about...
We don't need to talk about what that'll put me at. And so I've been around it, and we weren't the type of breeding farm that had as many as we're doing now. We had 1 to 3 babies a year, and it was consistent. We had them every year.
Yeah.
And we had calves every year, and we had a couple of my ponies foaled, so we had some smaller, not minis, but my show ponies would foal sometimes, and just always was very in it. But I wasn't necessarily doing the behind the scenes, wasn't necessarily doing the breeding part of it until later. And I would always help at night and like help watch. And we did have a break there for a little bit where we foaled out for other people because we didn't have any brood mares of our own. And so, a couple of our trainers we were working with had recent mares that needed foaling out. And so we did it for them and stuff like that. And that was more when I was in college and I wasn't at home. So I wasn't as hands-on during those years. And then I decided, you know what, like I want to get back into this. And so let's see, we had Annie in 2015, which Annie was born on the property. I don't know if you knew that.
I remember you saying that at one point, but
so Annie, which is one of the mares she's due this year, she was born in 2015 when I was in college. And so we had to send her to the vet clinic to foal out because it was over spring break and we had a trip. So she went to the vet clinic and they foaled her out. She was born, Annie herself was born a day or two before we got home. And so that was all good. And I don't think we had another foal that was ours. Like I think we foaled out a border and like stuff like that. I don't think we had another foal that was ours until 2019. So there was a little gap there. Mm-hmm. And 2019, I remember my parents were there, but I did it all, which was with Beyonce's first baby, Frankie. And Frankie ended up passing away at 2 weeks old. She ran into a fence and broke her neck. Freak accident. So that was Beyonce's oldest filly. And then with Stevie on, it was pretty much me. And so the first one that I can remember where I did not have the option to call for backup, I didn't have like this sense of safety to be like, hey mom or hey dad or hey whoever, can you like come see if everything's whatever. The first time I had no safety net other than calling my vet in was Penelope, which was 2023.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like I had done some stuff before that by myself, but they were like up at the house.
Right.
And I'd be like, hey, or like call and ask a question or whatever. They went on like a cruise or something over Penelope. And I was like,
bruh,
just leaving me, just deserting me. And so Penelope was born a little early. So I think they were supposed to be home by her due date, but she was born like in the early 320s. And so I think we did a video of that because I think one of the YouTube videos from Penelope's birth was me sitting down talking about the fact that was like the first time I had been just like no backup. And
it was on Jonathan's phone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we didn't get that on film. And we had like all of a sudden she changed like super quick that day and was dripping milk and stuff. And I was like, shoot, I don't have any enemas. I don't have any she was the first mare of the year. Like I had nothing. And so I went to Walgreens at like 11 o'clock that night. And that was a viral video. Actually, it ended up being a viral video where I went to go get enemas, went to go get more betadine or iodine or whatever. And when I got back, literally her full alert went off within an hour.
Dang.
Like feet were coming out like that.
That's
and
wild.
So that was a wild ride. But I think that was my first solo, like my first free solo.
Yeah.
No backup, no safety rope, no nothing. I meant free solo, like the guy that's been climbing
The buildings.
Yeah.
Alex Honnold.
Yep.
Yeah.
People were surprised that he climbed it beforehand to make sure it was climbable. And everyone's like, you thought he was just going to climb it without making sure he could climb it?
So he climbed it
He climbed it with a
rope
connected first, just to make sure it was climbable. He had the correct hand grabs or whatever,
Gotcha.
just to make sure
Practice
he could do
run.
it.
Honestly, I didn't even think about that.
And then
Did not even think about that.
Yeah, I didn't realize he did it either. And then everyone was like, okay, that makes
Did
a lot of
he
sense.
climb down, or did they go get him with a helicopter?
A lot of times he'll rappel down. I don't know if he did it on that one.
On the building, how did he get down?
I'm not sure.
I'm not
Good
sure.
question. We should look that up.
I saw like a TikTok where he said like sometimes I climb down, sometimes I rappel, sometimes I'll just
I think it was on
Hike down if
Netflix,
it's
wasn't
a-
it?
yeah. I'm sure you
It
could
was
Is
just,
it on Netflix?
It was live on Netflix.
yeah.
I feel like from a building like that, I'd be like,
Helicopter.
get
yeah.
me.
That
Parachute
little
off.
just grab the
yeah,
lift me up.
or a farming. Just
Yeah. Whenever you wean cows, is it different from horses or is it the same?
so we try our best to go off of the Farmer's Almanac for all of our weaning. It does make a difference. I swear it does. But there is a little bit tighter of a. You want to wean them as close to 283 days as possible. I think. Is it 283 days? Would
Like
that?
the calf is 283 days?
Let me do some math really quick. Is that? No, that's the gestation. The gestation is 283. What's the? There's a day. It's the early 200s because you want them around like 6 months. 205. Okay, I knew it was 2. Okay, you want it as close to 205 as possible. So because our calving season is spread out so far, we have like multiple weanings. So sometimes like the groups, someone might be a little over 205, whatever, and so we do it in batches. So we're not just weaning one calf at a time. And what we do is
I know not.
we separate them and we put the mamas in a different field and the babies like close to the barn, and we feed them and try to keep them as low stress as possible. But yeah, we basically do it in batches. It's not because there's so many more of them. It's a little bit different, but same concept.
How to determine the best mixture of feed for your horses?
So I am very lucky to have found Tribute Equine Nutrition. This is not, I didn't know she was going to ask this, and this is not an ad.
I just meant in like, do you like have a specific
Well, right,
thing?
but I utilize their free feed plans. So when I decided to swap over to Tribute, they have an option to make a feed plan, and they will like, you say, hey, here's my horse, send in pictures.
That's dope.
Here's some medical issues they have. Here's their age. Here's their activity level. Like whatever, help me feed him.
So you've done that for every horse?
Pretty much, yeah. And like we'll make some changes,
Yeah.
on our own. But basically, yeah. And so, a lot of it's trial and error. A lot of it is like you give them what you think they need, and then if they're gaining too much weight, if they're not gaining enough weight, if they're too high energy, like you can kind of figure out what they need. But yeah, I've utilized over the past couple of years the Tribute free feed plan, which is I did not mean
this
I
was not
did
a
not
shameless
mean
plug. She did not know I was asking
for this
that.
to be an ad, but I'll go ahead and put the link to that in the description.
We were having a conversation. This is one of my questions, actually.
Okay.
We were having a conversation the other day about something you used to watch as a kid, and I can't remember what it's called. But
So
it's
I showed
talking
her. I don't know why
horses.
this came in my brain the other day, and I found a couple clips on TikTok, and I don't even know how you would watch it now because I think it was on VHS, and it's called Chatter Happy Ponies, and it was my favorite show as a kid. And I think if you look it up as to what it is, my content now will make so much sense. Like I didn't even correlate I make videos where I give narrations to animals, and a horse will be standing out in the middle of a pasture, and I'll come up with something that makes it
that they're thinking
for a full minute, and it makes so much sense after realizing that was the main show that I watched as a small child.
Sparky's first day. The mouth over on the horses is great.
Like it's just a bunch of horses. Like it was one of those.
I literally feel like I'm just watching your YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Like it was one of those things where it's like Charlie Brown, where like the adults can't talk. It's like wah 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 wah, and the horses talk and they just save the day. And like the kids that rode them were like, it was more so the horses were the main characters. And I'm like, oh my gosh,
And they're like horse Power Rangers.
This is so true.
I'm just living my Chatter Happy Pony life.
Did you ever expect to?
No, I don't know. I always had chalked it up that I would never be able to afford horses past the age where my dad paid for them. So
And here you are.
So
Okay, the foal alert. This is a question we get a lot about the foal alert.
Okay.
How do you know which one goes off? So like,
So we're watching the cameras like hawks.
okay.
And honestly, last year, was there a time where the foal alert went off when we weren't already walking out the door?
I don't think so.
Yeah, we're pretty
Not-
much walking
not
out the
when
door
we were
before it
here.
even goes off. So generally speaking, they give us some sort of signs. Not always. I mean, Erlene had her baby last year without anyone knowing.
Mhm.
We woke up to a baby. Generally, we will have an idea of, okay, this one's getting closer.
Yeah.
And then they are very obvious when they are in labor and when they're contracting and when they're having those early labor signs. So like it's funny watching the live streams, and I'll read the chat for a minute, and everyone's like, she's pushing. I'm like, I promise
She's not.
you will know. You will know
Yeah.
when it's happening. And so generally speaking, we know when it's happening before that. But if we were to fall asleep, and if we were to, I have this TV that is like hooked up to my cameras, and I can see all cameras at once. That would be my first go-to. I would go look on the big screen, and whoever is
Distressed.
doing it,
Yeah.
I'm like,
All right, on my way.
and we'd be on the way down to the barn. And if I had to, I should do a quick lap at the barn.
Yeah.
Who's
Who is it?
down? But there's been a couple times that mares have surprised me. Like one time in 2023, I think it was 2023, when Ethel had Patrick. He had that was a foal that unfortunately passed away. So Patrick, I remember she was in the mid 320s, hadn't even put her foal alert in yet because she wasn't really showing signs and didn't have straw down, wasn't expecting it. Went to the barn to check on things, just happened to walk in, look in, feed her out. I'm like, ah! And so like I got the whole thing on film because I just propped my phone up on the stall, and like she ended up needing help because he had some like major issues. His legs were like bent up and stuff.
Mhm.
And that's why she no longer has her baby. That's why she no longer has babies. And so I had to help her. And so I just literally propped it up and that's
Did
how
your
it got
thing.
on film. But anyway, yeah, it was sometimes just super unexpected. But
So there's
normally-
no like this full alert went off.
no,
Okay, cool.
no, unfortunately.
Good to know.
It's all a pre-recorded. And that's another thing. They're like, we're going to hear the foal alert. I'm like, no, I'm so sorry. It's literally just like I'm getting a phone call. And then I answer it. And they say, it's from my own home phone number. And they say, foal alert, your mare is foaling. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Huh. I thought it would be like, woo woo full alert, something like louder.
Well, the one night that the fire alarm went off, we were all like, this is not the foal alert.
We could
Bruh.
we could rig up a little button and some lights. So
Yeah.
I keep saying I want like a gong,
Okay, a full
a
gong.
foal gong.
Boom.
Whenever it's born, gong it, or whenever it's coming out, gong it.
Or do we do like a bell?
A little full alert bell.
Yeah.
That could be good.
To wake everybody up.
Rally the troops.
Yeah, I like that.
Because sometimes
Maybe.
y'all are sleeping and I'm the only one up watching. And then, like, I think with Phoebe last year, because she had it in the middle of the night, I think everyone was already kind of like up asleep and I called everyone down.
What you should have done is when the full alert goes off, it should trip a lever that strikes a match, and then lights a fire over by the barn, the big flame, and then somebody over here is standing watch. And then when they see the flame,
Smoke signal.
then they light this flame, and then
Saying we're on the way.
Then they bust through the door, and they say the beacons are lit. Gondor calls for aid, and then you say, and Rohan will answer. And
For those that
then-
don't know, that was Lord of the Rings Nerd Out.
Let's get that
Can you
going.
imagine? The beacons are lit. The beacons are lit. It's just sending all the way. Oh my gosh, you have lights all the way down the
All the
road on
way
the farm,
down.
and they just. You're like, the beacons are lit.
Oh my. Okay. All right. This is a donkey question. Can donkeys get colic?
Yeah, absolutely. They're an equine species. So even though they're not a horse, they're still an equine species. And they have the same, gut, the same digestive tract, the same everything. So yeah, they
And
absolutely can. I haven't had one of my donkeys colic, but have you?
No.
That's good. How did your donkeys fare during the weather?
I thought they were going to be freezing, and they didn't even look like there was anything going on.
Did you blanket them?
No.
I mean, they've got their nice little house though. Like they have like a full house to get underneath, not even like a lean-to. They can get in.
Yeah, they can get in.
Yeah.
It's fully, and it's 2 rooms. So like there's the door and then the front room, and then they can go further into
That's
a back
bougie.
room. And then, we put all the hay and stuff in the back room. But I mean, it'd be the middle of the night, and I would go out there and check on them. And I'm like, why are you not in your house?
Oh, they were out in the.
They would just get out and play. They'd be like,
That's so cute.
kinda like jumping on each other and just being rough
Is
and rowdy.
Pico as long haired as he was last winter?
I clipped him about maybe 3 or 4 months ago, and so it's not as long, but it's long, but it looks tidy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's
He was so shaggy last year.
yeah, which I clipped him when all of his, maybe it was longer than that. He just had like all of his, when like the hair switches from like baby hair to like adult
Yeah.
hair, and they look kind of mangy.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what, you need to feel good about yourself. So I gave him a little trim up, and he looked great. And then that just kind of grew back out to full length now.
I blanketed mine just because they don't have a full house to get in, and it was like they have a 2-sided shed. So depending on the wind, like they can get away from it,
Mm-hmm.
and it's deep enough that they can get in there. Like they were dry. We went and checked on them, and they were always dry, warm, toasty. But I blanketed them just because, like, I was worried more about just them getting wet, and then
It was
Yeah.
windy too.
Yeah. so. But they were toasty every time I went out there. They didn't care about being out there.
I mean, for the most part, if they're not acting cold, I just let them be.
Yeah.
If they're like, I'm like, oh, you look like you might be cold.
Mhm.
Then we'll maybe blanket them or do it.
Have you had to
warm 'em
blanket
up.
Pico yet?
No, the only
Pico's never had a blanket on in his life.
He's never had a blanket on. He was who I was most worried about because he's still
A baby.
the youngest and smallest. Because I remember when
Do
we
you think
did.
he's as small as Pretzel?
I mean, they look very similar.
Is he going to be as small as Pretzel, you think?
I don't
Or
know.
you think he's be bigger?
He might be a little bigger.
Dolly. So, did you know that he had a Dolly baby before, like, I got Dolly? He had Dolly before I had Dolly.
No, I had no idea.
The
Yeah.
lore, the donkey lore.
The donkey lore.
So, I got Blanche
Mhm.
first. Then I'm like, I need another donkey. Like, she needs a friend. She needs another
Did you know Nate at this point?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then he had Buck and Pretzel. But earlier, he had Dolly and Pretzel, which was Dolly and her baby Pretzel. But then they had thought they got Dolly and a little Jenny. Like, they thought Pretzel was a Jenny. He was not a Jenny.
Not
he
a
was
Jenny.
a little Jack. They didn't want, like, Dolly hated him. They didn't want him breeding his mom, and, like, they didn't have a space to separate them. And why would you want to separate them? So they traded Dolly for Buck, which is another little boy. And so Dolly went to live with some other donkey girls, Jenny's. But then the people moved, yada, yada, yada. They needed a home for Dolly. I took Dolly.
Wow. Okay.
That's the lore.
That's the lore.
Okay.
So then when Dolly had a baby, it was,
It was a natural.
Brothers reuniting.
they're very cute.
And they just recently they're the ones who play together now.
They're the 2 youngest.
Yeah.
That's cute.
You have 3.5 donkeys
3.5.
because Eli is half his. And, like, it's really the neighbors, but he, like, stays with them.
They're kind of all merged and live together now.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Everyone takes care of all of them.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So,
It's like a community
Yeah.
donkey lore.
Yeah.
Donkey lore.
Cool. What job would everyone do if they couldn't do anything related to what they're doing now? So, like, completely different field.
Anything
What would you do?
anything related as in
So, like,
Animals?
nothing.
You can't do videography or photography
okay.
She wouldn't be able to breed horses or cows.
or do social media.
Okay, let's see.
Oh, well, yeah, that's the big one. That's the.
Yeah. What would everybody do?
I would do hair and makeup.
Okay.
You're really good at
Really?
makeup.
I don't know. I haven't seen.
You know what? You have only seen me be a hobbit.
Really?
Well, I mean, I didn't know you had any love for hair or makeup. You got nice hair and makeup. I didn't know that was something that you like to do yourself.
He doesn't know me. Okay.
She does.
I saved it at
Slack.
the end. Yeah, I saved it at the end.
She's been
definitely
trying to do better.
I brought it back.
Okay, you've only seen me in winter and
For 2 weeks.
For 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I've looked like Trunchbull.
Yeah.
Miss Trunchbull
No,
for the
not
last
yet, but
2
yeah.
weeks, okay? I understand. But no, I actually used to do makeup and then honestly wore a full beat every day of my life until about the age of 24, 25. And then was like, nah, I'm going to tone this down.
So she gets pretty and dressed up every now. I mean, she is pretty,
it's
but
like I either look like this or I go
full beat.
full beat.
Yeah.
There's not really an in between.
Yeah.
I've been trying for an in between. That
There
was my
wa-
goal.
that
Was
was
to
the
have an in
goal.
between. It lasted about a week. Anyway, what's y'all's?
Once Foal Alert or once Foal Watch hit, that's when it kind of disappeared.
No, but I love doing. I used to do hair and makeup at horse shows and do prom makeup and stuff like that, and hair. I freaking love it. I've done so many of my friends wedding hair, and I enjoy it very much.
Awesome.
What would you do?
If I couldn't do video or photography stuff, I don't know. I mean, I think the dream growing up was always to work with my dad, being on the other side of the camera in the hunting game and, traveling with him and getting to just, hunt, be on the other side of the camera. But my father also was doing the video stuff too. He was kind of half and half. Yeah, either that or I don't know. On the other side of the camera, I always wanted to be like an action sports type of guy,
Okay.
whether that was like motocross or something like
Okay.
that.
I could see you doing that.
Yeah, something like that. That'd be cool.
Is there a? So that's more of okay. You'd want to be like an athlete.
Yeah, I guess it's not really a job.
Could be.
I guess I have box buck. What,
Let me
or
think.
you're just doing your dreams so hard that there's no other options.
Yeah. That's definitely what it is for sure. Yeah, I mean,
Nate's hardcore
my dream was to
thinking.
always not work for something that I didn't enjoy.
Yeah.
And I've been doing that right now more than ever. But I've been doing that for a while, so I've been pretty happy.
Are we thinking more realistic or?
Yeah. Well,
Well, it can be
I was
anything.
going realistic, but you.
I think if
I feel like realistic's probably better.
so, this is one. I'm assuming that this changed the entire path of my entire life, and I'm on an entirely different trajectory, not just a job switch. I probably, maybe move to New York and do finance.
Mm.
Okay. Wall Street bro.
Yeah,
Really?
I think I'd be like a Wall Street bro, maybe.
Okay.
If I didn't have the creativity bug, because a lot of people are creative, but they don't have the
itch for
constant
it.
tug and itch
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
at it. If I didn't have that, yeah, probably something in finance.
I've never seen you in a suit or a tux, so I just can't visualize you being a finance bro.
Yeah, it's
If we're going realistic, I would say I would either be I'd try to get into real estate, try to be a realtor, or what I was doing all of my younger life, which was kind of like what Joseph was doing, landscape.
Jonathan.
I mean, my bad. I've got a best friend named Joseph, and I always want to call him Joseph.
Joseph.
Jonathan. Joseph is he's a guy I grew up with. But yeah, something like that where it was like I did a lot of landscape and would have wanted to move into more of a
Like excavation. And,
and being more of like a foreman type, like running the show,
yeah.
not as much in the field.
Gotcha.
Loki thought that was going somewhere else.
What
for a
is your?
second.
yeah. What would you do?
I love retail.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I really enjoy retail.
You're a special human.
Dude, I worked in American Eagle, in Taylor Factory, Loft, Levi's, Perry Ellis.
I have a nice Perry Ellis jacket.
Perry Ellis.
What
is
do you
nice.
What do you like about retail?
So
I guess I'm not. It's just as a not wanting to like interact with strangers all like that's not my strength.
Yeah.
It's so foreign to be like something you want to do.
So I really enjoy like talking to people. So I used to work at Lip Lab before I worked here, and I really enjoyed like the face-to-face interaction and having to like not force a conversation, but have to keep a conversation up since you're like sitting across from someone for an hour.
Yeah.
But like with shopping, people come in and out. You can meet people from all over the world, which I mean, you can do that at any job.
Right.
But within a mall, like whenever I worked at Opry Mills, people would come from the airport and just be like, "Oh yeah, I'm at my layover going to Australia," and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh, okay, cool." Like,
Yeah.
but I just really like that and money handling. I love counting cash. I love doing deposits. Like,
So you could be banker.
I would totally. I could maybe, probably not. I don't know.
You know, I was gonna make fun of you for a second. I was gonna say you're like I love money handling and counting, and I was like, how long it took for us to figure out a payroll debacle earlier.
I didn't say I was good at it.
We had to bring in the finance bro.
Yeah.
We did. He had to help a little bit.
Which to be fair, my degree is in accounting.
He is. He's an
Yeah.
accountant.
What?
Yeah.
Lore.
Mind
Lord.
boggling.
No, I stand by. I rarely meet someone that actually does the job that they went to college for.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know anybody. I've told the story a million times about me not going to college, but like everyone I know, I feel like other than maybe if someone had like a blanket business degree and then they work as a, have their own business or something. But
Yeah.
other than that, the amount of accountants I meet that are doing something else or someone that started out in nursing and now they like it just
Yeah.
no one ever does the same thing that they think they're going to do when they're 18 to 20.
No.
No.
Not at all.
Did you go to college? I forgot.
Yeah, I did 4 whole weeks. It was fun. It was a great time. I dropped out. I mean, I left. I had all A's whenever I left, but I was like,
Well, 4 weeks in is like you've done.
or
the
I did the
syllabus.
first semester. It probably wasn't 4 weeks. I did whatever the first semester was until Christmas, and then on Christmas break, I was like, man, this is lame, man. This is like the same thing I was doing in 8th, 9th, 10th grade. And I was in there for that, your standard I'm in business degree, and it just wasn't going anywhere. So I
Yeah.
left and spent all the money I had in my pocket to buy a drone and a camera.
Yeah.
And that's where it started.
Nice.
And here we are.
Here we are. I like it.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, we're about to have to go put some more horses out because we're using the arena right now for lots of turnout. It's still icy outside. It's a little dangerous for the horses to go out. If you missed that video, by the time this is posted, it'll be up. There's a video of the yearlings and the cows going out, and it's pretty special. So go watch that. Hope y'all enjoyed. If you haven't seen it, there's new Running Springs merch.
Oh, nice.
There's Valentine's Day merch right now. There's
Love is
so
in the
much stuff
air.
on the Katie Van Slyke store. So go to katievanslyke.net for that. And check out the live streams if you're interested in it. We've been doing it quite a bit and we plan on doing more of it. And yeah, let us know what you would like to see in future Catching Up with Katie episodes or future YouTube videos. And we'll see you next week.